which is somewhere between 225 and 250,000.
Could you give the statistics for the potential for Houghton County recycling again?
Well, I mean, the county is on pace for 900 tons, and on a very low-performing single stream, it should be doing about 1,500.
But the capacity you said was 24.
Well, that would be in a very high-performing. So if you got, you know, there's kind of these different ranges of this. I would say right now at 900, 1,500 is achievable here. I mean, really, university, communities, populated areas, townships, surrounding townships, drop-off locations, cardboard options in the, you know, all the way up. Those materials being transferred. You got the Ontonagon. It's hard for me to imagine that we're not at 1,500 already. Really.
So we could double our current rate.
Sure, you could. Absolutely. About how much are we talking about it here? I'm not sure. And that's what we're trying to, now as we go outside of the county, that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to, you know, first of all, make ourselves available and try to educate that, you know, hey, like we're doing today. Here's infrastructure, here's processing, here's marketing. We need you to put it in the bin, both residentially and from a business perspective. We good?
Talk about glass.
For a few minutes, sure. We can talk about glass. I mentioned the project earlier. Listen, glass is a very local material. What I mean by that is this. It's heavy and there's not a lot of value. And it's iconically recyclable, but we took it out of the single stream bin in Marquette County and we source separated it. And we told our municipalities, listen, if your residents want to do it, then have them separated. Because if you do, we can make sand and aggregate with this material, and that's what we've been doing for the last year. But you can't have that distance in transportation with that material. If Houghton County wanted to do something like this, and we've been talking a lot with concrete and asphalt companies, and that's the work that Michigan Tech is doing. I mean, you talk about roads. If you ever get to a place where you had this material acceptable into ASTM standards, etc., and you could get all distributors in the UP, 9 of them, not driving to Detroit and going to one central location in Upper Michigan, there's a carbon footprint that you just reduced. And oh, by the way, you're creating a product that can be used in multiple industries, right? We're not there yet. So on a smaller scale for, you know, Marquette, we bought a small machine, we're processing that glass, we're making sand, we're making aggregate. It has led to a lot of partnerships. But if you're thinking about doing it in your area, it starts with some feasibility, and it starts with that education part of removing it from the bin. And right now, in this area, my guess would be is this. Let's get people participating more. Let's get the paper, plastic, and metal. Let's get it collected. Let's see where that goes, because the numbers say you can do much better. Glass, like organics, is a whole other topic. And I mean, sun would go down if we start talking about organics, because that's a whole other topic, right? But this is, to me, is low-hanging fruit. I think there's some opportunities here on that side.
Is glass is on this card.
Yep.
So
Absolutely,
we're
yep.
supposed to be sending it, but you're separating it.
We are separating at the facility, and we had this conversation a while ago when this outreach was built. Okay, the glass that comes through this facility or comes through Houghton Waste Management here and comes to Marquette will actually go through the MRF, and we will actually use it as material in our working phase on our dumping pads, but it will not be turned to sand or aggregate because it is not source separated. And the idea behind this was this. Listen, it took us 18 months and continues to take us time to educate people to keep this glass out of their bin, okay? After some conversation, where we arrived was that it would be very difficult to do that just right out of the gate. So keep it in, and if it becomes something that Keweenaw or Houghton County wants to do locally, then you work backwards from there. You can remove it, and you can process it. But again, that takes infrastructure. So. Yes?
How does this system integrate or not integrate with the following camp collection that's done
Well, they're under the deposit, so, the way, and I just talked to one of the distributors, I mean, they, or a bar owner yesterday, you know, they come in, they pick up their old stuff, they haul it down, they give them all the empties, and they take it down to Lower Michigan, and it's bottle to bottle, right? So there's that distance that they're traveling. One thing about the beverage industry that I've learned is that, you know, there's a system there, and it's very tight, and there's not a lot of room for hiccups. So if they need their pallets, or they need their repairs, they don't have a lot of time to be monkeying around, right? It's a business, and they need to do what they need to do. So if there's ever gonna be a change in that, where you potentially could have, you know, what I described earlier, you're really gonna have to have all those pieces in place in order to make that
So
work.
they're entirely separate.
Yes, yes. And the one caveat to that would be Pike Distributing in Marquette. Their bottles now no longer go to the crate. They deliver their wheat directly to Marquette County, and we process that material and turn it to 7A. It's a very clean product. So that's one distributor who, again, it's all about location. They're across the highway. It's much easier for them, right? So we do have some of those activities.
All right, we're gonna have.
Enough?